Greetings. This is Dr. Isaac Alexis from the Slim Samurai Group 84, helping you to slash through sickness and offering you a slice of health and wellness. Greetings, fam. Before I begin, don't forget to click below the subscribe, the like, comment, so I know what to talk for future topics. Send this video to 25 of your friends. Check out also in the description box in the link below where you can go for one-on-one consults for your overall health and wellness for yourself and your family's needs. Okay, let me begin. Today's topic, fam, is opioid abuse. There's 5 must-know things to do now if you suspect an overdose. 5 things to do now in a suspected overdose. Let's look at this. Number 1, if you see an individual slumped over on the ground, pale skin, blue skin, which is called cyanosis, and it looks like they've been there for quite a while. First thing, I want you to dial 911. Stat 911. Dial that immediately. And what I want you to do is to shout, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" Shout it at least twice. That's what you must do. If still no response, get down there. Number 2, what I want you to do, in the forearm here, underneath the thumb, if you go down to the wrist, below the wrist by 3 inches, there's an artery, the radial artery. What I want you to do is check for a radial pulse. In the neck, you have an artery, the carotid artery. You can check here in the neck for a carotid artery or in the forearm for a radial artery. I want you to check for no longer than this very specific amount of time I'm going to mention right now. Do not check for longer than 10 seconds. Any longer and you're simply wasting time. Get to it already. While doing this, it's always advisable to have a bottle of Narcan on you. You can quickly spray one in one nostril, which will deliver around 4 milligrams of Narcan to this precious soul that's lying on that ground unresponsive. If after spraying in one nostril, either the left nostril or the right nostril, there's no response, then you can administer another dose. And you're asking, Dr. Alexis, how many minutes, how much time should I let elapse between each dose? Great question. I would say any time between 2 minutes to 3 minutes, you can deliver the second dose of Narcan. Now, you may be asking me, Dr. Alexis, how long is it going to take to now work after I delivered it? Great question. If you're utilizing the nose, the intranasal route, then the answer is approximately 8 minutes to around 13 minutes for it to kick in. Next, you might ask me, Dr. Alexis, is there a faster way than the nostrils to administer that Narcan? And I would answer you, definitely there is. And then you would ask me, Dr. Alexis, what are those routes? Well, you can administer Narcan intramuscularly. You would then ask me, how long does it take via the intramuscular route? And I would educate that it would take, once administering 0.4 to 0.8 milligrams, you're looking at about 2 minutes because it's right there in the bloodstream. That's the reason why it's going to kick in that much quicker. And if you are wondering other routes, you would ask me next, Dr. Alexis, what other routes are available? I would educate you that if you've come to the scene and there is EMS there and you see an IV line, the EMS with their Narcan, if they inject that into the IV line, then it's going to take 2 minutes to kick in, just as quick as that intramuscular. Once this substance meets blood, bang, then it's going to kick in. There's a rich capillary complex system in the nostrils, but it still takes 8 minutes. Now, you might be asking me, what happens if the patient, if they're intubated on life support, about to be hooked up to life support in the in-hospital setting? Like I've had to do on several occasions, administer the Narcan via the endotracheal route. Well, the answer will be, on the low end of the spectrum, 2 minutes for the Narcan to kick in. On the upper end of the spectrum, it will take around 5 minutes for Narcan to kick in. So I want you to know these numbers because it's critically important. Get out there and save a life. Now, your next question may be, Dr. Alexis, how does Narcan even work? I would answer you that Narcan is a pure opioid blocker, what's known as an antagonist, that competes. And what happens is it's going to kick the opioids off of these opioid receptor sites. It's sort of the game we all used to play as a young child, King of the Hill, where you knock down in a very rugged, rough way the person that was on top of the hill so that you would then be the king of the hill. And then the next person would let you have that glory for all of 10 seconds before knocking your behind off of the hill so that they would become king of the hill. Well, sort of that's the way that Narcan is going to be the king of the hill when it comes to the opioids. It's going to knock its behind right off of that receptor, which is the hill, and it's going to be the king. So in a good king, and that's going to get that person out of their near comatose, unconscious state. So this is very critical to understand. Now, next question you might be asking me is, Dr. Alexis, how long is Narcan going to last? I would answer you that the duration is anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours. It depends on the route of administration. The intravenous route has a shorter duration of action than the intramuscular route. Now, very important what I'm going to mention next. Very important. Please listen carefully. Put down the TV or any other distracting device. Next, naloxone is a short-acting agent, much shorter than most opioids. So I'm going to caution you ahead of time. Be prepared in many instances to use not just one dose, not just two, not just three, even though 3 may be effective. Sometimes I've had to use 4 doses in the emergency department to bring patients back. And yes, they're cursing me like a sailor from A to Z, violating my virginal ears. Atrocious. But I'm so glad that they're alive. Daggone it. I'm so glad that they're alive. Now, number 3, the third thing you must do now in a suspected opioid overdose. You want to, at all costs, keep that patient awake and breathing. Number 4, they start to, sometimes when they get administered the Narcan, they start to gasp, choke, and spit up. Turn them to the side. This is the CDC guidelines. I want you to turn to the side. They can vomit, and if they aspirate that, they can drown in their own vomit and die. The least being getting a pneumonia. So turn them over to the side into the recovery position. Commonly, you can cross a leg and you can have them where their forehead is against the forearm, facing the radial artery right below the thumb here, where you were checking their pulse for maximum time, 10 seconds. In that recovery position, have their head turned out. This way, they're not on their back and vomiting, and then that aspirates into their lungs. Number 5, you want to stay with the individual until the emergency response team, the first responders, come from the number 1 thing I mentioned when you initially had called 911 in the first place. So those are the 5 critical must things to do now in a suspected or actual overdose. It is critical that you follow that. Don't forget to subscribe. I need you to send 25 other people. Click the like button. Leave comments. I'm not going to know what to talk on next if you don't leave comments. So please do that for me. As always, this is Dr. Isaac Alexis from the Slim Samurai Group 84, helping you to slash through sickness and offering you a slice of health and wellness. God bless.